Once, Seneca went to his country house after being away for a while. He was surprised to see that his property was falling apart, and the trees in his garden had no leaves left. He got upset with the landlord, who said he did his best, but the trees and the house were old. Seneca was surprised when he saw how quickly his property was falling apart. It made him realize that he was getting older. He wrote to his friend Lucilius, saying that he could see signs of aging all around him, like the crumbling stones and dying trees. Instead of feeling sad, Seneca decided to appreciate old age, believing it could be enjoyable if one knew how to make the most of it. Why would anyone enjoy growing older? Our bodies are wearing down, our memory isn't as good as it used to be, and we can't do things like we used to. We're becoming more reliant on others, to the point where we can't even take care of ourselves. It's sad to see ourselves falling apart, moving away from life's excitement toward the darkness of not being. It's as if life gave us the good stuff first and left us with the tough part when we're old. Seneca wrote in his book, The Shortness of Life, about people who act like they're still young, wasting their time pursuing things like money and respect. He talked about an older man dying just after getting his inheritance and another elder passing away while working. It's like these folks spent their lives chasing things that didn't matter, sacrificing their time and peace of mind. Seneca believed that even in old age, there are enjoyable things to experience, although they're different from when we were young. He said, "As we get older, some of life's greatest joys come towards the end. Life is most delightful when it's like going downhill, but not yet at the very bottom. I think this time, when we're standing on the edge, has its own pleasures. Sometimes, not wanting things can be just as good as having them. It's comforting to have satisfied our desires and moved on from them. When we're young, we often chase after fun and accomplishments. Our energy pushes us to make a name for ourselves, have families, and leave our mark on the world. But these desires can also make us restless, and pursuing them takes up a lot of our time and energy. In Seneca's book, The Shortness of Life, he talks about how people often spend their lives chasing things like fame and wealth. He says that in doing so, they forget to truly live. It's only when their time is running out that they realize they've wasted their time on unimportant things. As we get older, many of these desires start to fade away. Seneca compares this stage of life to standing on the edge of the roof. When you're at that point, knowing that you could fall off at any moment, you become less interested in making more money or seeking approval from strangers. What becomes most important is enjoying the time you have left. Seneca argues that simply giving up the desire for endless pleasures can bring its own sense of pleasure. He says, "Let's stop wanting the things we've been chasing. In my old age, I've stopped wanting the things I desired as a young boy. My main focus now is to end my ongoing troubles and enjoy my days and nights." As we grow older, we often look back at our younger years and feel a sense of nostalgia. Life used to be full of beauty and energy when our bodies were strong and vibrant. The world felt like a limitless opportunity, with countless possibilities ahead of us. But as time goes by, much of our lives has already passed. We've made choices and had our chances. Some things turned out the way we hoped, while others didn't. By the time we reach old age, most of us have gathered a collection of life experiences, both good and bad. Seneca believed that simply having lived is a reason to celebrate. We've had moments of happiness and joy to look back on and be thankful for. And even during tough times, we've endured and can take satisfaction and pride in that. Seneca once shared a story about a governor named Pacuvius who celebrated his own life. Pacuvius would hold a special ceremony in his honor, complete with a feast and music. His servants would even sing, He has lived his life, as they escorted him from the dining room. Inspired by this, Seneca encouraged us to remember that we've lived the life that fate has given us. He said, "The happiest person is the one who can face the future without fear." When someone can say, "I have lived," every morning is like a bonus. Seneca advised us to live each day as if it were our last, as if it brought our life to a fulfilling close. When we see our lives as guided by fate, we understand that we haven't missed out on anything, and everything has happened as it was meant to be. We're like people standing on the edge, waiting for the moment we fall into the unknown, and every moment fate grants us is a victory. And when that fall eventually comes, we can proudly say, "I have lived," and face the sudden end with contentment. He said, "I'm trying to live every day as if it's a full life. I don't seize it as if it's my last day, but I do treat it as if it might be." We all know that growing old leads to one inevitable outcome: death. However, many of us fear death. The idea of slipping into the unknown troubles us. We understand that this fall is bound to happen, but we can't predict exactly when. As we age, we become acutely aware that our time is running out. Our energy diminishes, our bodies weaken, and younger generations take our place. So, we try to hold on to our youth, which might work for a while, but eventually, the signs of aging become more obvious and intimidating. Facing the decline following this fall becomes more daunting. Celebrating the life we've lived is one thing, but accepting that it's coming to an end is another. Resisting it means going against fate. Death is an inevitable part of life, and we can't avoid it. Seneca wrote to Lucilius that he was prepared to embrace death. He said, "Dying well means dying willingly," not that he actively sought death, but he accepted it cheerfully. According to him, this readiness relieved his anxiety and allowed him to enjoy his remaining days even more. Seneca encouraged us to never do anything we don't want to do. If we embrace fate, we won't go against our will, understanding that things happen as they are meant to, including death. He said, "The person who acts as required isn't unhappy. It's the one who acts against their will. So let's prepare our minds to desire whatever circumstances demand. And above all, let's think about our end without sadness." Is Seneca suggesting that we should give up on life? Not at all. What he's saying is that we should be prepared for death and accept its inevitability. This doesn't mean giving up on living, but rather it's about reducing anxiety by embracing the fact that our time on earth is limited. If we're constantly afraid of the end, we can't truly celebrate the life we've lived. In fact, as we get closer to the end, it becomes even more important to seize the day, as there's a higher chance it could be our last. Seneca also encourages a realistic attitude towards old age. There are things we can no longer do or even want to do. We can either accept our limitations and adapt to life's changes, or make our last days miserable by resisting and struggling. Old age offers opportunities, such as enjoying fond memories. We can find peace in not having to face the challenges and difficulties of life anymore, as we've already endured them.